Butterflies are absolutely amazing creatures. When my first grade classroom received the caterpillars that my cooperating teacher ordered, my class was bursting with excitement. I could not stop looking at the black caterpillars with fuzzy bodies and multiple feet, my mind filled with questions. How long would they be in this stage for? When would they make their chrysalises? What color would the butterflies be? One by one, all 6 of the caterpillars crawled up to the lid of the plastic container, spun a little knob of silk onto the filter paper, and attached their rear ends firmly to the silk knob. I anxiously observed the caterpillars throughout this process, excitedly noting when each caterpillar went from the larva to the pupa stage. A few days later, a student ran up to me and told me that one of the chrysalises had fallen to the bottom of the plastic container. My cooperating teacher later informed me that this butterfly would most likely not make it. She then sadly told me that the pressure of the ground would keep the butterfly from expanding its wings and most likely die. I was horrified. I could not bear the fact that one of our butterflies was going to die or possibly be crippled when fully emerged. I asked my teacher to keep the fallen chrysalis and anxiously went home to research different ways to save the chrysalis. Some people suggested placing a dot of hot glue on a piece of paper and placing the tip of the chrysalis in the hot glue, and then pinning the paper to the top of the plastic container. Others suggested using a cotton ball to hook onto the chrysalis and slowly clip it up to the top of the container. Still others shared about how they used thread to make a sling and then tied the string to a tall branch. The next day, I went to school armed with different supplies to help save the fallen chrysalis. I quickly got to work and tried out different methods, hoping that one of them would be successful. Richard Buckminster Fuller said, "There is nothing in a caterpillar that tells you it's going to be a butterfly." This reminds me of the students that I worked with in the past year. As a student teacher, I had the opportunity to work with both 4th graders and 1st graders. When I first met my students, they seemed like normal children, wearing their white and blue uniforms and dutifully walking into their classrooms. When first introduced, each student seemed ordinary and similar to all other students their age. But inside each individual was a unique set of strengths and passions that played a significant role in their development. In a way, each student was like a caterpillar on their own individual journey to becoming a butterfly. I saw growth as 1st graders struggled from reading 27 of the 100 most frequently used sight words to reading all 100 quickly and confidently. I saw my 4th graders moan and groan when they saw decimal numbers and fractions, to cheering when I took out decimal place value boards or introduced new games such as decimal capture. I saw my students grow together as a class, as 1st graders learned how to line up quietly in a straight line, and as 4th graders learned the importance of respecting space and the consequences of stealing from their classmates. Though I experienced the joy of seeing my students excel, I also suffered from a broken heart when I saw my students struggle in any way, whether academically, emotionally, or physically. The fallen chrysalis reminded me that life's complications will always arise, and my passion and desire as a teacher should be to assist and support those who need it the most. This year, I learned to ask myself what I would do when my students struggle. Would I A, simply look at them in frustration, assuming that they weren't trying or putting in effort? B, move on, hoping that they would quickly catch up to the rest of the class? Or C, would I have to reevaluate my teaching methods and strategies to better meet the needs of my students? In the same way that I tried to save the life of the lone painted butterfly, I also learned that I needed to actively look for new tools and change my own strategies to aid my students in the classroom. For my students who were behind, I looked for different ways to reach out to them. Sentence frames were created for English language learners, games were introduced to add a more competitive but fun atmosphere to the class, and novel flip charts were created and projected on the Promethean board. While not all students successfully met each academic objective for the school year, the important thing is that these students were given the chance to succeed and thrive in the classroom in the same way that the fallen chrysalis was given the opportunity to live and fly like the other painted lady butterflies. And that is what teachers must do for their students.